Hello everyone. In this session, we'll be starting with the second chapter of company's account, which is issue and redemption of debentures. So let's start with the meaning of debentures. Now, debentures means to borrow. See, as we have learned that when the company has to raise its capital, it issues shares. But now, when the company requires the funds on the long term basis, it borrows money by the issue of debentures. तो कैपिटल रिक्वायरमेंट के लिए कंपनी क्या करती है? शेयर्स इशू करती है. लेकिन जब कंपनी को लॉन्ग टर्म फंड्स की रिक्वायरमेंट होती है तो कंपनी क्या करती है? डिबेंचर्स इशू करती है. So we can say that the companies raise long-term funds through debentures which are issued either through the route of private placement or by offering the same to the public. So the debentures is a written acknowledgement of a debt taken by a company as these are issued under the seal of a company, which means a debenture which is issued by the company, it is in the form of a certificate and under the seal of the company. It contains the terms of repayment of the principal sum at a specified date and the terms of payment of interest at a fixed percent, which means principal sum is the amount which have been borrowed by the company and it is to be paid at a specified date. And as we know, the company has borrowed some amount from the public, so it will have to pay the interest on such principal amount at a fixed percentage. Debentures includes debenture stock, bonds, and any other securities of a company. Now, here the term bond is similar to that of debentures. The traditionally bonds were issued by the government, but nowadays it is being issued by semi-government and non-government organization also. So the main difference between the debenture and bond is the rate of interest, as debentures are issued with a fixed rate of interest, whereas bonds are issued without predetermined rate of interest. Next is the features of debentures. So the first feature is, as per Companies Act 2013, no company is allowed to issue debentures having a maturity date of more than 10 years from the date of issue, which means the time duration to repay the amount which have been borrowed by the public should not exceed 10 years from the date of issue. However, a company engaged in infrastructure project can issue debentures for more than 10 years but not exceeding 30 years. Next is payment of interest is made by the company normally after every 6 months whether the company makes a profit or not, which means even when the company bears the losses, it will have to pay the interest on debentures issued to the public. Debenture is generally secured by a charge on the asset of a company, which means if the debenture holders finds that the company is not able to repay the debentures as per the terms of issue, then he can move to the court and take back his money by getting the assets of the company sold. Next is funds raised by the issue of debentures are of long-term nature and usually the debentures are repaid after a long period such as 7 years, 10 years or 12 years. And also the loan raised by the issue of shares is called loan capital. Now we will differentiate between shares and debentures. So the first basis of difference is ownership. Shares represent ownership of the company as share is a part of the owned capital, whereas debenture is only acknowledgement of debt as debenture is a part of borrowed capital. Next is return. So return on shares is known as dividend and also the rate of return on shares varies from year to year depending upon the profits of a company, whereas return on debenture is known as interest, but the rate of interest on debenture is prefixed. Third is repayment. Normally, the amount of shares is not returned during the life of a company, whereas debentures are issued for a specified period and repayable on expiry of that period. Next is voting rights. So shareholders enjoy the voting rights, whereas debenture holders do not enjoy any voting rights. And the last point of difference is convertibility. So shares cannot be converted into debentures, whereas debentures can be converted into shares. We will now discuss the types of debentures on the basis of different factors. So the first factor is from the point of view of securities. It includes secured debentures and unsecured debentures. So, secured debentures are the one which are secured either on particular assets of the company called fixed charge or on all the assets of the company called floating charge, which means if the company is unable to repay the debentures on the due date, then the debenture holders can realize their money from the assets mortgaged with them. Second is unsecured debentures, which means they do not have a specific charge on the asset of the company. So the holders of such debentures are treated as unsecured creditors at the time of liquidation of the company. Next factor is from the point of view of tenure, which includes redeemable debentures and irredeemable debentures. So, redeemable debentures are the debentures which will be repaid by the company at the end of the specified period. It means it is repaid by the company either in lump sum at the end of a specified period or by the installment during the lifetime of the company. So, most of the debentures are generally of this type. Next is irredeemable debentures. So, irredeemable debentures are the debentures which are not repayable by the company during its lifetime. And these debentures are repayable only at the time of liquidation of the company. Next factor is from the point of view of convertibility. It includes convertible debentures and non-convertible debentures. So convertible debentures are the debentures which are convertible into equity shares or any other security. Also, when only a part of amount of debenture is convertible into shares, such debentures are called partly convertible debentures. Whereas, when the full amount of debenture is converted into shares, such debentures are called fully convertible debentures. Next is non-convertible debentures. So these are the debentures which cannot be converted into shares or in any other security. Next factor is from coupon rate point of view, and it includes specific coupon rate debentures and zero coupon rate debentures. So specific coupon rate debentures are the debentures which are issued with a specific rate of interest, and this specified rate of interest is known as coupon rate. So the rate may either be fixed or floating, and the floating interest rate is usually tagged with the bank rate. Next is zero coupon rate debentures. So these are the debentures which do not carry a specific rate of interest. And in order to compensate the investor, such debentures are issued at discount. Now, the last factor is from the viewpoint of registration. It includes registered debentures and bearer debentures. So, registered debentures are those debentures in respect of which all the details, including name, address, and particulars of debenture holders, are entered in a register of a company. Such debentures are not freely transferable. The transfer of such debentures requires the execution of proper transfer deed, which means the principal amount and the interest on such a debenture is paid to a person whose name appears in the company's register. Next is bearer debentures. So these are the debentures which can be transferred by the way of delivery, and the company does not keep any record of the debenture holders. So we have discussed some basic concepts of debentures in this session. In the next session, we'll do some practical question based on debentures. So that's all for today. Thank you.